I've been waiting too.
Wait! I can prove I didn't do it.
On the night of June 24th, 2014, Haynes and McCutcheon had split off onto two different paths. The sheriff, believing Francis was the sock thief, brought him in to get an admission. And the special agent, believing it was Gerald Lee Page, raced to find any evidence he could to prevent Francis from being arrested for the crimes. But it was too late. And while Haynes was searching for evidence on Gerald Lee Page, Francis was trying to prove his own innocence.
Please, just here. Take a card. Okay, take a good look at it. All right. Put it back.
Francis knew there was only one way out of this.
Take another card.
Haynes received a phone call from Splendini alerting him that Francis was taken into custody by the sheriff.
I tried to alert the authorities because Francis could not have possibly done and act like this.
Haynes raced to the station.
Is that your card? Not even close.
He sucked. He was a terrible magician.
The rabbit was out of the hat. Francis couldn't be the sock thief. He couldn't even do a simple card trick. When Haynes arrived at the station, he found a bloodied and beaten Francis.
They really roughed me up in there.
This was not only against the law, but it was also against the special agent's strong moral code. The sheriff had made his final mistake with this investigation.
After the unlawful things the sheriff did to Francis, turns out he wasn't even our guy. The sheriff had made a big mistake.
Okay, so maybe I didn't exactly play this one by the book, okay? But I had a hunch about this guy here, and I just had to figure it out. Look, I'm not necessarily proud of what I did, but I did what had to be done to protect my community, to protect my town. I couldn't let this monster go free any longer. I needed answers, and I needed them now.
Leroy McCutcheon was relieved of his duty as the sheriff of Hilford that night. From this point on, Haynes was on his own. Haynes pleaded with Francis not to pursue charges until after the investigation for fear that the case would be ended. Francis agreed. Haynes then told him that Gerald Lee Page was the prime suspect, and to call him if he found any evidence to corroborate that theory. Francis wasn't the sock thief, which meant there was only one person it could be.
Gerald Lee Page.
Gerald Lee Page?
I mean, I knew of him.
He seemed like a good kid. He came into the library sometimes.
Run into him at the grocery store.
Just by looking at photos, you would never
here
expect there to be anything wrong with the guy.
Really out of the ordinary about Gerald him. Lee Page.
It's full of mischief, but I
Come on, this is not Gerald Lee Page. This is not a guy.
The best part about it is that you never saw it coming.
Never saw it coming.
Just like everyone else in this town.
You know, Jim, I've been waiting too. Haven't been sleeping much, have we? I see the bags under your eyes.
You're sick.
I'm sick, Jim. Maybe we're all a little sick. Maybe I'm just like everyone else.
Catching Page would be nearly impossible if Haynes couldn't figure out a connection to the name Sean Hawks. To this point, no one could figure out whose name it was or who it might be alluding to. That is until Mr. Michaels, the town librarian and crossword puzzle enthusiast, made an observation.
Sean Hawks. S. Hawks. Socks. Genius.
This made it clear that the name was made up to torment the special agent, playing with him, possibly testing him. Sean Hawks was not a person, but an idea, which would make finding him nearly impossible. Nearly.
Hello, Special Agent Haynes, this is Francis. I think I found something. I think I might have found something about Gerald.
In a corner of a messy, dark garage was a box. In the box was a collection of items Francis saved from his time at UM. Many of the items were Gerald's: books, junk, love letters, and an old camcorder with videos of performances. One of these videos was an audition tape. In the video, he did sleight of hand and other simple tricks. But it was not what he did that surprised Francis, but rather the stage name he used.
Hello, I am the Incredible Sean Hawks. The Incredible Sean Hawks. The Incredible Sean Hawks.
The connection had finally been found. A magic audition tape under the name of the Incredible Sean Hawks brought to the special agent by Page's former lover.
You just couldn't write a story like this.
After Haynes told Francis about Gerald, Francis became suspicious. He had no idea that he had this video in his possession, but when he found it, he decided to betray his ex-lover. He ultimately realized when he was being beaten by the sheriff that if Gerald really ever loved him, he wouldn't have let the cops take him in the first place. This information recontextualized everything that he thought he knew about Gerald.
Really, shocked, really frustrated. I mean, as you can see now, it's really hard to find what else to say. I thought I knew him. I seriously thought I knew him. I'm sorry.
With this evidence, it was indisputable that Gerald Lee Page was the sock thief known as Sean Hawks. But Haynes decided to hold on to this information, instead of relaying it back to the Bureau. He knew they would immediately go after Page, and if Page caught wind of this, he would surely disappear before he could be arrested. Haynes knew that if they were going to finally catch Page, they would have to trap him. The plan was simple. Haynes had the tech guys sew a tiny tracking device into the finite threads of a tempting pair of socks, which would then be worn by a plant agent dressed as a civilian, at which point Page would steal the socks, leading another team of officers to track his signal and bring him in. It was a simple plan, and as expected, Page took the bait.
Hey guys, Dylan Dillchill Bad Boy Gurkowski here. I just heard on the news, I just woke up, heard on the news that they might have caught the guy who's been stealing all the socks, so I'm gonna go down to the police station and see if I can get some footage, alright? As always, stay Dillchill.
It was over. Hilford's famous sock thief was now finally in custody.
When we got him, such joy went into my heart, knowing that these people were safe again.
The chaos was over. They caught him. The madman was off the streets.
When they brought him in, the only thing he had in his pockets were handkerchiefs and lint. And then they checked his feet.
And the sickest part about this guy is that this son of a bitch didn't even wear socks.
Page refused a lawyer and refused to speak to anyone other than Special Agent Haynes. Their conversation was brief, but it was chilling.
So, why did you do it?
Why did I do it? Why does the lion hunt the gazelle? Why does the farmer shear the sheep? Why does the chicken cross the road, Jim?
Why socks? Just the pure evil that he was emitting in the whole room. I hope none of you ever feel that ever in your lives. Why would you do this to these people?
Because it's so easy, Jim. So easy. They would believe anything if you told it to them. You could take anything from them because they're weak. Just like you.
Do you not cherish this town?
They must be the little family you never had growing up in the big city. How pathetic. How weak.
There are still many questions left unanswered. How did Gerald steal the socks? Is there such thing as real magic? Why did everyone call the special agent a detective? Where did the sheriff get his southern accent from? These questions and so many more are left to the imagination of people who lived through the tragedy.
I was just happy this was all over with.
Met a lot of evil people in my life, my own father included, but never in my entire years of this job did I ever think I'd encounter someone stealing socks.
This could be the worst thing to ever happen to this community. You know, some may say this may be the worst thing to happen to any community.
Gerald Lee Page was prosecuted to the full extent of the law in front of a jury of 12 of his peers, and he was found guilty on all charges.
As far as his sentence, they gave him the death penalty.
I believe that the death penalty should be reserved only for the most heinous of crimes, and this was definitely that.
Rot in hell, you stinky bastard.
Osama bin Laden, Adolf Hitler, and Gerald Lee Page.
It's a shame that this town will only be remembered for an idiot magician who stole socks.
Where are you from again?
I'm from New Haven, Connecticut.
Have you spent any time in the South?
No, not even a little.
Okay.
They say if the shoe fits, wear it. Well, in this case, the sock fit Gerald Lee Page. Thanks again for the water.
You just don't know people. You just don't.
We never knew why he stole socks. He didn't wear socks, so maybe he was anti-sock. But he never told us, the jury or the judge. And I will always have that part of me that would regret not getting that out of him, but at least he's away, he's gone, and he's no longer terrorizing the poor people of this precious small town.
Hilford, California. Located all across America. In the wake of tragedy, it was just another town, like yours. And for the people of Hilford, California, life would never be the same.